Meeting Jack and Ian, definitely both of them, was pretty surreal at the beginning, you know. I've been a Rangers fan all my life. You know, obviously was a big fan of what Ian was doing in his playing career, and so meeting him was fantastic, and we hit it off instantly. We had like a 3 or 4 hour lunch meeting and walked out of that meeting knowing that he was going to invest. Same thing with Jack. I was a big fan. I had always listened to his music and just really respected him as an incredibly high-powered artist. Meeting him was very much the same as meeting Ian. It was like I had a ton of respect for what he had done, and he was incredibly nice. Both of these guys were incredibly nice and welcoming, and I think it wasn't that they liked me, they liked what the idea of Warstic was. Warstic is a sporting goods brand that started 2011. Really simple wood baseball bat brand, like custom wood bats that you would order online. And over the years it's evolved into more of a full-on baseball brand. So metal bats, fielding gloves, batting gloves, everything that you can do head to toe on a player in baseball. And then it's evolving from there. We've gotten into girls softball, men's softball, and we're working behind the scenes to get into all kinds of stick sports. So lacrosse, hockey, fly fishing, tennis, golf, all these kind of things. So anything that's a stick in a sport is kind of on the table. Pickleball is actually a really big new one that's already out for us. For a long time, this was kind of a small side hobby business for me and really my kids and family. But when I kind of got the idea that it really could be a legitimate mainstream sporting goods brand, I really needed some support. You know, I needed to raise money. I wanted to get some great business partners. And so I couldn't have ever planned it, but ended up meeting Ian Kinsler through a friend, and had been in contact with Jack White for different reasons, and those two things just kind of magically came together, and they became my business partners in 2016 and my initial investors. They really represent the two sides of what Warstic is about, right? Design and art, that's Jack. High performance, that's Ian. You put those things together, they're great partners for me because they kind of represent those two sides. I was pretty surprised that Jack was the baseball fan that he is. I mean, he's incredibly passionate. He's more passionate about baseball, the history of baseball, than even Ian is, or me, admittedly. We love to play, but like Jack can go into the entire history of baseball like as an encyclopedia. So that's, you know, but that's what his interest is. It's like you take design and creativity in baseball, you put those together, that's Warstic.
Warstic started as a completely online business. And for the vast majority of our history, that's what it's been. And we were always big on creating that relationship with our customers, building up a strong D2C base, because we wanted to have fans that understood beyond the physical products that we were trying to make, but also the message that we were trying to communicate with those products. So when we decided to actually create a headquarters, we knew we weren't gonna do it like any other baseball bat company. It started with Jack and this building and buying this building. Then we knew, okay, this can be our headquarters, but instead of just being a retail store or instead of just being an office space where we can get together, we wanted to build the full Warstic experience.
I spent a good 1.5 years of my almost 90% of my focus time every day with Jack, designing every aspect, every nook and cranny of this building, and then, you know, getting into the process and working through it with the construction teams and stuff like that. So it was probably the coolest creative project I've ever gotten to do in my life. I remember walking in when it got finished and I thought, oh, it's better than I thought, which was amazing. So we had a grand opening. The idea with the building, which really is very much inspired by what Jack does with Third Man Records, is not just a place where we work, but a very immersive experience for the customers. The building's more about them and less about us.
So if somebody was a true fan or a true customer and they came here, not only could they see all of the products that we have. They could watch limited edition, small run, ultra artist series bats being made in real time. They could go to the cage and take lessons. They could go to speaking events in the cage because we have it as a full speaking and event center. Instead of just doing a coffee shop, we invented a coffee brand and have our own coffee because that's how we do it.
You know, it was amazing sharing the experience with all the customers and fans of Warstic in Dallas, and then, you know, Jack played a full-on rock show in the basement.
The cherry on top is the basement. We wanted a place our Sandlot team could hang out after games. And piece by piece, it ended up coming together with this vintage bar that Jack was nice enough to find and get for us, and then pictures of all of our games and our MLB players and things like that on the wall. And it became a gathering place for us as well as a music center that we could do live music from. Which is
Still to this day, I've seen a lot of Jack White shows, and they're all great, but that one was just surreal. Ian and I were looking at each other most of the show, just looking at each other like, how is this going on right now, you know? And it was super cool.
There is no blueprint for building a place like this. And as you walk around the building, you really see the distinctive styles and characteristics of each of the main owners. From the high performance side that Ian Kinsler brings, to the love of the Southwest, that if you look at Double Hawk and the cafe, to the basement is definitely Jack White, that you get that sense. And so while all of the styles meld together really well, as you walk through the building, you kind of get to see each of the owners kind of peek out in individual ways.
I was a trained graphic designer, an ex-college and professional baseball player, and I just saw a need in baseball especially to bring a little bit more high-quality design and personality into the market, because really just, you know, the brands that we had were kind of all feeling very similar.
We really kind of view ourselves almost like the punk rock of baseball, because baseball is very traditional. It is very classic, I think, in a lot of ways. And we see that that's part of our role, is to do things a little bit differently, to be producing super high quality, super high performance things, but we do it our way, and it's just different.
Design is something that can really take kind of a boring product and make it more interesting and appealing. I get to dream up, you know, what's next for us from the product standpoint, and then design what that looks like. And then I love collaborating, you know, on the manufacturing side with my operations director, Mike. I think we have almost 20 manufacturers across the world that make all these different products because they're so diverse. So managing that is not easy, and he's just one of those guys that kind of thrives on that complexity.
The biggest part of my job is really just making sure that we're developing products that are fitting the players' needs out there in the field, and really anything operationally that goes into that. So, you know, that starts with sampling product, cosmetics, getting it made up at the factory, the structure, the construction of the product, and then, you know, flowing that all the way through from a quality standpoint, making sure that we're testing it with the players out there to make sure it's what they want and what they need. And then making sure that we're ordering it, we're getting it to the warehouse, and then we're shipping it out to all the kids that are buying. And so it's really from start to finish operationally, there's a lot that goes into it. At Warstic, we make bats out of 3 species, maple, birch, and ash. So that's where usually I'll start, is like, what species do you like to use? Because they're all a little bit different. But the biggest thing that a pro will usually want to tweak is towards the handle, the knob, the way it feels in their hands. That is 100% going to be the biggest deal, because they need something that's comfortable in their hands. And one of the reasons on our metal bats, we've patented our pommel precision knob, which is like a tapered knob similar to a wood bat, because it feels very comfortable in your hands. But all these pro guys, they want something comfortable in their hands, something they feel like they can get through the zone really quickly. Some of them want it super thin, some of them want it a lot thicker, some want to taper, some don't want to taper, and then within all those variables, it's millimeters that you're messing with. And outside of the knob, the handle area, which is 100% most important, is the barrel. So some want a fatter barrel, some want a skinnier barrel, a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, because they want to feel the bat in their hands, and then they want to feel the barrel when they're making contact with the ball. So those are the 2 big areas, the handle, knob area, and the barrel.
My name is Chris Perez. I'm the graphic designer, sometimes art director, sometimes production artist, sometimes a barista. On a typical day, I kind of wait for Christine first, do some marketing, social media graphics, and then definitely gonna hear from Ben over some like original designs for uniforms, bags, gloves. Recently, we started designing uniforms for the Israeli national team for the World Baseball Classic, something that I'm really proud of. We celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month, but I thought it was very fitting because I'm the graphic designer here. My heritage is very important to me, and then Ralph is the bat painter. Ralph, he's Hispanic as well. We have a lot of the same background, same humor, same upbringing. Ben wanted to do something with battle, and this is the first typeface that I can, when I go back in my childhood memory of my cousins building lowriders, of us going to Mexican restaurants or even churches. This was the typeface. That slogan of battle is so hardcore. And it's like, why not add this hardcore typeface to it to kind of represent like the local Latin communities, you know? Ben has always done the Sandlot posters. He's always done design, and he gave me just free reign. This was a Sandlot that got rained out, but it was gonna be Jack White and Eddie Vedder. Didn't get to make it to that one, but I have a signed copy of this, which is awesome. So Sandlot is, sometimes when Jack is in town, we try to get a little game going on at a local baseball park. And there's been like a Sandlot revolution started by the Texas Playboys down in Austin, and now it's blowing up.
Is everybody ready for some baseball?
There's guys that take it seriously, you know, they played in JUCO or they played at a Division I school and they still want to keep it going, and they do. You know, they're awesome. And there's this other split off of like these graphic designers, creatives, craft beer drinkers, just like dad bods all over the place. And I feel like we're kind of in the middle of that, you know, because we got Ian, you know, and then we have like Jack, who's just an aficionado. Like, he loves baseball and like the history of it. My favorite part is the trust. You know, Ben and Christine, they trust me with like a lot of decisions. It's awesome. That goes a long way.
We make all of our wood bats at a factory in the United States, but our factory here is for really small run, ultra specialty factory artist edition bats. And we have a fantastic factory artist here, Ralph, who's incredibly talented. And basically it's our job to dream up the craziest things we can think of, and then his job to figure out how to do that.
We're gonna see our custom order Detroit Stars bat. It's from the Negro League, and they came up with an idea and they let us figure this out. So me and Chris came up with this idea, and this guy right here is a double dip, so this one's just a beautiful piece. This is a specialized order. Not all the orders come out of here, but the customized order, walk-in orders that we have will come from here. So then what I do, I just find my dead center, and then we load her up. And off she goes. She's all done. We'll just spray the first coat and get it going. And after that, I stencil. And then after that, any characteristics I do by airbrush. And after that, be clear coating, and then engraving, and then ready for you to pick up.
My name is Jordan Davis. I'm the director of Team Warstic. I'm also our kind of in-house instructor, and I coach 3 or 4 teams in the Dallas area for Warstic. Team Warstic is club baseball, select baseball, however you want to phrase it. We are a group of teams from all over the country who come together for a lot of different reasons. It's but people looking for an organizational feel or a brand or something to attach their team's identity to that's not necessarily under an organizational umbrella. They get to still run it like their own small business, their own team, while still having the support of a brand and other teams around the country that look like them. We run our teams very much individually. The coaches are kind of up to their own practice schedules, tournament schedules, roster size, so a lot of it is left up to them. But at the end of the day, they are wearing the War stripes, and they are wearing our colors and our brand, and we have teams that come from Mississippi or Arkansas, and they come to Texas and play in a tournament here, and we get to see teams from out of state that come in here, but it's a rather small group. We have about 30 teams nationally, so it's not a small family, but it has a family vibe to it that we are all part of the kind of War Stripe Nation. For kids to play a sport that, in my opinion, makes them a part of something bigger than themselves, that is covered with failures, whether it's ground balls or strikeouts or walking batters or whatever it is, it's a ton of failure, and that mentality of battle or grit, which is one of the other ones we have, where it's just like you gotta clench your teeth and battle, you gotta fight for it a little bit. I think that's the mentality that we try to instill in our players and in the coaches who are gonna be a part of Team Warstic. You know, this is who we are, this is what we offer. This is the kind of mentality and the respect for the game and the parents' approach to development of young players is what we expect in return. In my opinion, it's a really good way to run an organization, so to speak. So I grew up here in the Metroplex in Frisco and went and played a little bit of junior college baseball and then finished 2 years at the University of Alabama where I pitched. I got drafted by the Florida Marlins in 2006. I had a rotator cuff and a bone chip my second year, got surgery from that, and then I got let go in the middle of my third year, so I was in minor league ball for a brief period, and then kind of transitioned into coaching in 2008. This Warstic group, my oldest group, will be high school freshmen. We started with this group when they were fall of their 5th grade year, and so I've been with them since they were 10 turning 11, and now they're all turning 15. So it's like having little brothers, and I have watched them very much develop and grow up, and from being at my hip to now most of them being eye level or taller than me. We have really good relationships because they are like little brothers. I'm with them most weeks more than I'm with my family, and they're with me most weeks more than they're with theirs if it goes right. So it's very much a baseball family for that. Having good coaches around, having good mentors around, having other good players around who have the same goals in mind for their long-term success in baseball, or the same goals in mind for like the kind of student they want to be. So I think surrounding our kids with like-minded players and like-minded coaches only helps kind of support the parents as well. You have to learn how to work within the bounds of a team, but also understand that it's you. Nobody's there to help you win right then, but you do have to be a part of something bigger than you. So that's kind of like any other job or class or family, whatever nucleus you're going to be in, you have to be a contributing member of it, no matter how bad your day's going.
Kids respond to the mentality of Warstic. It looks cool, yes, but this logo they understand means, you know, one line means the past, one means the future, and it's all about staying in the moment.
If you're trying to hit a fastball and you're thinking about anything else, you can't do it.
And so it's helping kids deal, especially in baseball, with failure, you know, which extends to life.
That translates so well for the athletes, their parents, their coaches, everybody, about what we're trying to tell people.
It's incredible how many stories we hear from parents about not just the products, but the mentality of Warstic rubbing off on their kid and them gaining confidence. They do better in baseball, but they do better in just dealing with, you know, all the things that kids got to deal with, you know.
The thing I love most about what I do for a living is that I get to work with kids. I get to do, I've been around the sport of baseball for 35, 36 years now, since I was 4 or 5 years old. I grew up in that sport with my dad and my little brothers, and now I don't have a son, I have a daughter, but I have a ton of little brothers that I get to be with every day, and I hope that there's a mentoring aspect that they get from that from me, and I get to kind of keep up and feel like I'm relevant. But the baseball side of it is it, right? It's the best sport there is, and I get to do it with really cool kids at a really cool company, and it's kind of hard to beat that.
I've always thought that, especially in this day and age, that if you have success, you should try to share that success and give back.
It was always looked at through the lens of success should always be partnered with giving back to things that you care about.
One is just that, supporting wounded veterans. And
we work well with the Travis Mills Foundation that works with injured veterans.
Who's a pretty well-known injured veteran. He's one of the original investors.
And they have an absolutely fantastic program. We have specific bats that give back and are dedicated to that cause.
And we're really good at, creating unique items, limited edition items, auctioning them off. Sometimes Jack and Ian will sign things, raise a good amount of money.
Whether it's our popular metal bat, the Gunner BB Core bat, or U-Trip bat, or the any of our pink batting gloves or bats that we'll give back to for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
We work with the Pink Fund, that is another fantastic group that they help pay for a lot of the things that people don't think about, which is while women are receiving treatment and care, it helps pay for the bills of everyday life that happens so that they can focus on healing. I think that is a great example of we want to be giving back and making impact where it's really specific and it can be felt. We've worked with the Pink Fund for years, and even when we were really small and we couldn't really donate that much to that cause, we still felt like we were impacting people's lives in a positive way.
We just donated, about 25 bats to a youth organization in Louisiana, and that for boys and girls that don't have access to bats and batting gloves and things like that, and we were able to send them a big care package of bats and things like that because of other Warstic teams who donate to the cause. I mean, you can look around kind of behind me, there's bats everywhere, and so when we have people in need or we have people that reach out, we're a lot of times in a place to go introduce baseball to some kids who may not have the access to it because of the cost of bats and batting gloves and things like that.
The primary cause, the one that we focus on a daily basis, would be something we call the American Indian Stick Warriors Fund. And so at the end of the day, it's mostly about making sure that Native kids feel supported, feel special, feel important, and understand that they should be in sports. And we try to do different things to encourage that, whether it's through helping raise money to build maybe a field on a reservation, something tangible like that, or sending equipment to kids.
It's not just specific to baseball, it's not just specific to fast pitch, there's also lacrosse and some of the other things that we're doing. But it has always been a goal of ours, and something that we wanted to do where we felt this was also an underserved cause. The statistics around youth and sports versus when they don't have access to sports, and some of the things along, drug use, alcohol use, suicide prevention. There is such positive statistics around accessibility to sports, whether it be baseball, fast pitch, lacrosse, that we thought this could be one of the most beneficial ways that we could give back to that community.
I mean, you can't lose sight of how important that is. We're very fortunate. At the end of the day, if I'm having a bad day, I go back and I think to myself, I'm getting to work in a child's game, and a give back is a huge part of it. It wouldn't feel as special if we weren't able to give back with all the success that we've had.
It's a good feeling to put baseball bats in kids' hands who might not otherwise have one, and it's even better that it's a Warstic bat, so it's great.
We just stick to our guns when it comes to what we believe in.
It started small, because again, when we were small, it started small, where it was about, hey, finding and sponsoring Native youth athletes and covering all of their gear and equipment. And it has grown over time where we've done large developments on tribal lands, working with designing dugouts and things like that, and sponsoring entire teams of Native athletes. Most recently, the Atlanta Braves Native American Showcase that they did, that was 50 of the top Indigenous athletes from all over so that they could get in front of college scouts. We donated all of the equipment for that. One of the most rewarding and fun aspects of the Stick Warriors Fund is being able to connect with a lot of these athletes that are just fantastic and amazing, and we've worked with some of them for years and years, and now we've got to see them move on and make the varsity team and then move on and go to college and things like that. And so I think that's the part that's really exciting, is getting to work with some of these young athletes and just giving them the opportunity to compete in those spaces.
Full circle, when you can design a product like a baseball bat, inspire someone to pick it up by the way it looks, and then help them have success by the way it performs, and make a living out of that, and create happiness on both ends, it's pretty fun.
We're not selling these widgets. It's selling something that we believe in and that it's leaving something more. But beyond the life of that bat, it's leaving something more.